So essentially, the role of creativity in the 21st century, we've been talking a lot about creativity over the course of the years, so especially after 1950s. However, there has never been a better time to be creative than the times we're currently living in. Different challenges. We had COVID in 2020. No one was anticipating that, but it hit everyone globally, and it had a number of devastating impacts. So we had to think very quickly, and all of a sudden, all our lectures were online, all our meetings were online, getting used to a new life, perhaps in a lockdown. So we were doing lots of creative efforts. Some people were baking bread, some people got busy thinking about how they could make a living actually during a lockdown and being more productive as they go. So we do live in a very volatile environment currently, for example, because of conflicts at the borders of Europe. We have also explored this experienced this volatility in terms of price hikes, different business circumstances, which require us to rethink, which require us to remodel how we do things. And this is where creativity becomes very, very handy. We also live in complex societies. So the more we progress brings complexity alongside with it at different levels, business levels, society. So this is, again, one other area where and why creativity becomes very, very useful for us to be able to address these new emerging circumstances. And changing scenarios. So the changing scenarios, different landscapes, different modes of how we are pursuing our studies, new opportunities have emerged over the last couple of years that perhaps people did not consider before. Again, all asking for us to become more agile in our thinking and the ability to generate new solutions. Which is why creativity is a necessary skill for everyone. Being young, middle-aged, older in age, creativity is a must. So I would like to invite you to look at every problem as an opportunity if we find creative solutions. And with this, what I would like to invite you to explore is to try and make an effort to come up with multiple solutions, okay? Because very often, we find one solution, we try to be happy with it, but then we see that it is not necessarily the best fit for whatever we're looking at. So making an effort to combine different solutions, perhaps we could have more elegant, long-lasting, and perhaps even efficient solutions in the long run. So how do we go about turning problems into opportunities? This is, in some way, not necessarily tricky, but challenging, because we're not always used to do something in this way. So when we're looking at problems and try to spot the silver lining behind the clouds, okay, sometimes we kind of get stuck. It's very important to shift our positions. It's very important to try and move around and see, let me look at things differently, perhaps, okay? And this is what we're going to try and do this morning. So in terms of thinking creatively, when thinking creatively, it is good to think as broadly as possible and to go for quantity of ideas. So again, like going to the gym, this is very important for you to explore in terms of, bear with me for a second. There you go, lovely interruption at the office. So in terms of looking at ideas, it is very important to try and go for quantity. If you have quantity, you'll be able to reap the best quality. If you're happy with the first one or two ideas that come along, you'll have no choice. So this is more relevant and makes our mission here more relevant as to why we need to address this issue of creativity and why we need to go to the gym in terms of brain training to rewire and be able to have more and more ideas. The more ideas become available, therefore, as I just said, the more options there are to pick the best quality solution. And perhaps this could be a result of one or two ideas that could be twinned, blended together, fixed or tweaked. So an idea that might not look feasible now could perhaps, when you look at it from a different point of view, become doable and actually a very good solution. One generic rule that we typically suggest when thinking creatively is to suspend judgment. By nature, most of us would tend to think that their ideas might not be good enough. We take long to put our hand to voice our opinions or our ideas. They say, someone say something, I knew that. I should have said it. Next time. In this case, please do suspend judgments. All your ideas count, so please put them all down, as long as they're ethical, of course. Okay. And one other rule would be to avoid discussion. So you just put down points, because when you engage in discussion, you tend to forget what you're really thinking about. Okay, so it is very important to keep the focus, suspend judgment, and keep the flow going as we go. So now, again, when thinking creatively, we use simple practice items. And I'm saying this because this practice item that we will use today is very simple and practical. Okay, the idea is that first we learn a tool. Okay, so just like, I don't know, maybe an artisan would start practicing on scrap material. Okay, as the skill is refined, then we can polish things up and do things which are more expensive. In this case, once we master the skill, we can do things that are more realistic, more, let's say, our business. Okay. So